Hello everybody, Nurse Scott here. How are you? I got a few things to talk about today. First, I don't really have any update on school because I worked ahead and now I'm done for like a month before the fall semester starts. So now I'm just waiting for the fall. And the other news is I got some business cards made up for the channel. So it comes up in conversation. I'm not big on promoting the channel, but sometimes it comes up in conversation and I'm like, oh, well, if you're interested, look it up. And I'll remember Nurse Scott, just search for Nurse Scott. Now I have actually something to give them that they can take with them. Yay, 17 bucks well spent. So my main thing today is I want to talk about I've got some good news about mental health, and I want to talk a little bit about the things that we don't normally talk about. So, first, the news. In 2020, Congress designated the new 988 dialing code as a shortcut for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, kind of like 911. But it's not just for people with suicidal feelings. It's in the name, I know, but they've changed the name and the number and the name. So it's now the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. The changeover is still in progress, so you may see either one of those. And it's not just for people with suicidal ideation, it's for people who are having mental health crisis, which isn't always what you think. It's not completely breaking down and having a nervous breakdown. It can just be feeling extremely overwhelmed. You just need to talk to somebody and maybe they can point you in the direction of someone that can help. And it's also for substance abuse crises. So, I was making a list. What kind of things should you be thinking about? Like a panic attack, anxiety attack, grieving, feeling depressed, feeling frightened or confused, feeling overwhelmed. And let's face it, we've all been there. A few days ago, on July 16th, 2022, it went live nationwide. And this is kind of exciting for me because when I was in LA getting my degree in psychology, I was a volunteer counselor and then a trainer and then finally the executive director of a crisis hotline there on campus. And I have depression and I'm very open about it. So what is 988? The 988 Lifeline is a crisis hotline that operates 24/7, and not only can you call them, you can text them or chat with them online. And I've talked a little bit about the kinds of problems that you can call for yourself, but you can also call if you're worried about a loved one who might need some crisis support. Like if your partner starts talking about, after I'm gone, or your friend just doesn't seem herself. If you don't know what to do, you don't know how to help them, call. They can help you. And all that can be stressful for you too. So don't forget to ask for some help for yourself too. So how does this all work? Well, they respond 24/7 to calls, texts, and connect you with those and chat, and they connect you with a local agency that has trained crisis counselors. Why does there even need to be 988? Well, because life can be tough. And even though you think you can't always handle things alone, and you don't have to. Friends and family can be great support, but there are times when a problem gets really out of hand and you need to call a professional. And really, here are two of my main messages. One, it's okay to ask for help. And number two, you're not the only one that needs it. Mental health and substance abuse are real problems in the U.S. Here are some statistics. In 2020 alone, the U.S. had one death by suicide every 11 minutes. For people 10 to 34, yes, 10 to 34, suicide is one of the leading causes of death. And from April 2020 to April of 2021, over 100,000 people died from drug overdoses. Calling for help can be scary, I know. And I think it's scary because it's the fear of the unknown. You don't know what to expect. So here's what to expect. First of all, you'll get a greeting message, and the call is routed to your local crisis agency based on the area code that you're calling from. Now, if you're like me, you have a cell phone that's a different area code than where you live, don't worry, they're able to transfer you to the agency that's closest to you. Now, I just tried calling 988 to get some information in preparation for this video, and I got a message saying that international calling is not activated on your account. So I guess there's still some bugs to be worked out of the system. I called my cell phone service provider and they said they look into it. They're going to email me. But in the meantime, not to worry, The old number, the old toll-free number is still available, and that's 1-800-273-TALK. 1-800-273-8255. And I called that, and it worked just fine. So a counselor then answers your call, says, hello, what can I help you with? They try to understand what you're going through, how it's affecting your life, and provide some support and maybe point you towards some resources that might help you. And remember, they're not there to judge you or gossip about you later. Your call, text, or chat is confidential, except in some very extreme cases, and I will talk about that in a minute. That local crisis center, if the local crisis center is busy, you'll be routed to a national backup crisis center. There's help in English and Spanish, and they can use a translation service and talk to someone in 250 other languages. Now, what about the online chat? What happens when you use that? Well, first of all, the chat line is at 988lifeline.org/chat. And the first thing you'll see is a pre-chat survey to get you in the right place. And then you chat online with a trained crisis counselor and get help and support in the same way. If there's a wait, there'll be a wait time message that appears on your screen. And if demand is really high, you can access the Lifeline's helpful resources while you wait. If you're in a situation where you're concerned that someone might find out that you've contacted the 988 Lifeline chat, find out how to clear your cache or your cookies on your browser. Chrome has an incognito function. Opens up a new browser, you do what you need to do, you close it, there's no record of any of it. And on your cell phone, if you have an iPhone, then you find the call in your recent calls list and swipe left and tap delete. On an Android phone, go to your recents, tap the number, tap call details, and then at the top, tap trash. Whichever way you connect to 988, you'll be connected to a really nice person who knows how to deal with what you're going through. And sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger about what's going on. And even though you don't know each other, just having someone listen can really make a difference. Plus, if you need it, they can help you find a counselor or psychiatrist or support group or whatever resource might help you the best. Now, you may have some concerns about privacy and safety. So here's what you should know. You may wonder, if you call 988, will they call 911 or will they have you hospitalized? Paraphrasing from the 988 website, all Lifeline crisis centers adhere to the Lifeline's imminent risk policy, which means that crisis center staff work to provide support and assistance in the least restrictive way possible. In fact, most concerns are resolved by the Lifeline staff and do not require additional immediate intervention. Only a small percentage of Lifeline calls require activation of the 911 system. That is, when there is imminent risk to someone's life that cannot be reduced during the call. In these cases, the crisis counselor shares information with 911 that is crucial to saving a caller's life. So if you're in danger, they're going to do what they have to do. And honestly, if it's gotten that far, don't you want them to? You should know too that if you're not in imminent danger, they're not going to call you back if you get disconnected. It can happen. Why? Because trying to call you back could put the caller in more danger. Think of someone who's in a domestic violence situation who might have to hang up when their abuser enters the room. If the center tries to call that person back, the abuser could answer and it could really piss them off and more violence could happen. If you get disconnected for whatever reason, it's up to you to call them back. The only exception is if the caller is in immediate danger, which I just discussed, and then the center may try to reach that person again. What about privacy? Well, your call itself is as private as any other call on a cell phone. So as we all know, not 100% private. There's always a possibility somebody could hack in. I'm not sure who wants to hack into my phone calls, but it's technically possible. The 988 folks, they do ask for some basic information. They only use that to be able to track the demographics of the people that they help. So age, location, gender, sexual orientation, all that kind of stuff. And they will want to know what name to call you, so they're going to ask for your name. You can use another name if you feel more comfortable. You might wonder if the calls are recorded. When you first call, you will get that message. You hear it everywhere that says your call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance purposes. And the local crisis centers that you get connected to, they may also record that for training and supervision. But don't let any of that prevent you from asking for help when you need it or when someone in your life needs help. So now I want to talk a little bit about mental health because we don't talk about it enough. I hate that there's a stigma attached to mental illness. I think it's important to normalize mental illness. It's not rare. You're not weird if you have a problem. In fact, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, nearly 1 in 5 Americans has a mental illness. That's 52.9 million people. So when I say we're not alone, we really aren't. And I want to normalize asking for help. Why do people hesitate to ask for help with a mental illness problem or with a physical problem for that matter? You call a plumber when your toilet breaks, you're at least as important as your toilet. You're not weak if you ask for help. You're smart. So if you're feeling sad for no reason, or you feel like there's no joy in your life, if you're grieving the loss of a loved one or a pet or a relationship, if you're feeling anxious and nervous for no reason, if someone in your life is physically hurting you and telling you it's your fault, or stealing from you, or making you have sex when you don't want to, if you're drinking too much or smoking pot or using meth or any other drug, if you just feel overwhelmed and you can't cope anymore, call 988 or call somebody. There are all kinds of social service agencies in your area that may be able to help you. You deserve a full, safe, and happy life. For some people, that comes easily. For some of us, we have to work for it. If you found this video interesting and helpful and charming, give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Just click subscribe, ring the bell, and you'll be notified when new videos are available. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.